Man, I stayed up till way early in the morning the other day, and now I don't even know what day it is. I'm all backwards on my time. Mr. Mike here, the guy that owns this amp, he's a fellow SOA member, and I feel bad because this thing's been sitting on the shelf for a long time. There's a lot of these little projects like this guy that had just been sitting because I've been stuck on that 48 pill for a while. And now that that's done, it's actually home. The guy's got it. He's loving it. It's kicking ass. It's building all kinds of power. He's over there just devastating people. I can come back around and do these kind of things, but Mike messages me, and some of his messages have gotten a little bit terse, like, dude, I needed the amp like 3 months ago. Well, Mike, please accept my dearest apologies. Trust me, I'll make it right with you in the repair price, because this thing was a bitch. This thing was pretty chewed up when it got in here. The note says, does not power on. Would like to use both AM and sideband, redo power wires. So once I figured out what caused it to not power on, there was a trace that runs right across the front edge of the board here. It had evaporated, for the lack of a better term. We got that trace replaced, and as soon as I hit the on-off switch took up in smoke. So the next thing I did is I replaced the on-off switch and got the on-off switch to work correctly and made sure I didn't have any downline shorts. Well, got that to run, then we figured out the driver pill was bad. So somebody had been in here, all right, guys, and they tried to make a comp box out of this thing. And they weren't very successful at it. The power wires were all in the wrong place. They'd pulled all the sideband circuit completely out of this thing. The bias back here was completely removed. The bias up here was completely removed, and everything was soldered and globbed to C. Brought it over to Class C, otherwise 100% to ground. So I had to come back through and un-F all of that. Okay? Well, as soon as I took all this section apart and rebuilt it, these are all new parts down here, Mike. Actually, this whole driver section is brand new. I lifted this whole driver section right up out of another amplifier and stuck it in here. Short of the transistor, it's now got a 1446 in it for a driver, which is working really good. I had to lift this out of another amp, that out of another amp. Yeah, this was a lot of work. Changing the switch out and retrofitting to the new PAX style switches. Whoa, that was fun. That winner. Anyhow, we hot air flowed this and took it right off. And then I replaced all your lights and put you all new switches on the front. Your meter was all screwed up. They had the wrong value of resistor down here. This is what drives it weeps a little bit of RF signal through this capacitor. Right, so it blocks the DC current on one side and lets a little bit of the RF pass through. So then you use a resistor to attenuate the output signal from the AC side of things. This actually works off the drive portion of the amp. That's what creates enough voltage to actually drive the meter forward. They had the wrong valued resistor in there. So we fixed that. I replaced the light bulb for the meter because the meter wasn't working correctly for the light anyhow. Rebuilt the bias circuit. Then I spent a bunch of time trying to find out where the burn, this coil kept going up in smoke. As soon as you get up in smoke. So had to spend a few minutes, take this whole section out again. So this is the third time this section has come out to problem solve it. Come to find out, down here, when they had modified it to C, there was a little wisp of shit that was going over to the ground, and it was backing up, coming back through the resistor. For some reason, this coil wasn't smoking, but this one was. I don't know. Then we figured out that the coax that was going from your output combiner network back up to the switch return that goes to the relay was bad. It had a short in it. So I just replaced that with wire because it doesn't really matter. We're at 100 ohms here at that point anyhow. And so we got it running. So we got it running stable, but the problem was I keyed up and it went over into the corner. Okay, so when they went in here, they bypassed all these input pads. Okay, but they'd done it underneath the switches. So I think we're on spot number 5. I had to pull all this shit out and figure out what was going on here. Okay. So I got that figured out. I also dug around, and out of another 667, I added a little bit of an input attenuator on this. So now you can use like a 30 or 40 watt radio to drive this, and you'll be good. Okay. Had to replace your sideband delay capacitor, and let's see, here's something else. Oh yeah, I had to change your output capacitor because it was chooched. So Mike's on the other side of the street. The customer is on the other side of the street going, Jesus Christ, BBI, what is taking so effing long? Because I kept saying, I'm working on it tomorrow. I'm working on it. Let us not forget that I also work a full-time job. And every once in a while, they actually need me to come in and do something. Well, that's what happened earlier this week. So I'm sure Mike thinks at this point I'm a complete flake bag. But at the end of the day, the finished results are proof in the pudding. Oh, yeah, the other thing is it had gotten so hot that the output tuning capacitor on the output transformer had unsoldered itself, fallen back, and then resoldered itself on top the output transformer, but part of the capacitor wasn't touching, so the whole output circuitry was unresonant. So we upgraded your power wires for you, Mike. We put brand new Stinger oxygen-free cable in there. Upgraded this over here. This solid core wire is actually somewhat adequate to be able to carry the amount of amps, which is like 25 amps down to those two transistors. So on that note, dude, you got a 1446 driving 4 Toshiba 2879s. That's actually all 100% electrically correct. Basically, brother, it was effed when it came here. Preamp works independently the way it should. All the lights light up, and they've got all brand new faces on them. So, on that note, the amp off. Gentlemen, we're on 1,000 watt slug in PEP, 1,000 watt slug in average, 5 watt slug in reverse, back from the Bird 10,000 watt dummy load. We're going to use a 5 watt slug in reverse between the 2950 and, of course, this Texas Star tx600. They made so few of these, and they didn't make them towards the end of the build generation, so I'm fairly certain this is the right meter, but I'm telling you, you're better off than the meters they currently make, because the meters they currently use don't have actual strain attachments on the back of them. So, anywho, let's talk through this thing and show the pass-through. Hello, about 20 watts of drive. We got a 1 watt dead key. Hello. Talking right through it, no problem. So we're going to start out on low. Okay, you guys understand that that's what this is, right? They've got all these different switches on the front, but they've got multiple different functions. So that's medium, that's low. Okay, so when you go and run sideband, they expect you to run this. Well, this actually puts like a 1 or 2.5 dB attenuator in line to help protect the amplifier. Okay, so this is high. When you have it on power on, preamp off, and the other lights are off, this is high. Medium, low, medium. Think about it for a second. It'll make sense. So let's start out on low. Hello. 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 Nice and low. Hello. Hello. All right. We go to medium. Hello. 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 200 Bird, about 580 in PEP, and we're on 14 volts, like I said. Now we're going to go to high. Flip the wrong switch. Hello. 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 Less than a half a watt on the input tune. About 600, 610 on the output. That's with a 20 watt radio driving it. Full meter deflection, by the way. Hello. Man, hit the switch, dummy. Hello. Remember, this is a relative meter, not for any form of measurement. Anyhow, Mike, you're all done. I'm just going to put this in a flat rate box and send it home to you, man. That's it. We're done. Peace, love, and chicken grease. This thing's working beautifully, finally. Only had to take the board off like 5 times, replace 2/3 of the component, one switch, 2/3 of the component, literally, on the whole front side of this thing. Somebody butchered the... If you don't know what you're doing, keep your fingers out of stuff. But then again, if it's broken, I mean, it can't be chooched down anymore, and why not try and fix it yourself? So you put grommets in it, got rid of the shitty strainer leaves over in it. That's it. We're done. All right, Mike and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys checking up, and watching the video. Remember, click subscribe if this is the first time you've ever watched one of my videos. I greatly appreciate the support. Gentlemen, my name is BBI, and without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat, Instagram, and of course, you found me right here on the old YouTube Gargler. If you got a question, got a project, got something you want me to repair for you, since that's the direction I'm wanting to take this business, is I want to go do repairs. I'm getting really burned out on the new build projects, if you guys can't figure that out. So I'm primarily wanting to go and do repairs. And business is a booming. Just give me a call. You got something you want me to do. It might take me a month of Sundays, but I'll get it done. And it'll be 100% when it leaves here. All right, on that note, I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat dinner and do some other stuff. Appreciate y'all checking in. Bump, bump. BBI, gone.